Okay. Can you see my screen? Shiva?
Yes, yes, I can see.
Okay. So Shiva, you have the working experience in ABAP, right?
Yes, yes, I have experience in that.
Okay, I think this is what the project we created yesterday. We just right click and preview the app. Okay. Okay. So for what we have done, we have just designed the login page, right? But when you look at this login page, it is not what it is displaying as of now. We want it differently, totally. So for
Yes.
example, how we thought of doing it in page. Second. Well, right. Okay. Something like this, right? Okay.
Yes, yes, yes.
Something like this, we will just try. So maybe, okay, let's start with what I will do. First of all, we will just design first name, last name, and password. Okay, we'll make sure that label is on the top. The input field, it should be wrapped to the next line. Okay, and after that, again label, again input field, again label and input field, and then at the last one radio button. Okay, we'll try as it is.
Okay.
And after the radio button, there should be one normal sign up. Okay. So let's do one thing now. So this is the form, right? So first of all, what we have done, we have just designed a simple form. Second, you open the view file also. Yeah. Okay. So as of now, we have just added a simple form control, and in that we have added 3-4 controls like label and input field. Okay. And previously, before adding the editable property, the label and input fields were not aligned properly. Right, those were not aligned properly, so that's why we added editable equal to true. Okay, so after adding editable equal to true, now we are able to see both the label and the input field aligned in the same line, right? They are aligned
Yeah.
properly with each other.
Okay.
Okay, but
Okay.
the requirement is I don't want the input field in the front of a label. I just want it to be wrapped, and then before that it should be exactly in a center line. Okay, so I think first of all, what we will do, we will try to align this simple form exactly in center. Okay, we'll align this form exactly in center. So for aligning this form exactly in center, there are a couple of controls which are available, couple of layout options which are available in SAPUI5. Okay, so in this we have one of the very which is highly used is the flexbox. Okay,
Okay.
so flexbox is the control which is highly used, and mostly it is used for alignment. Means whether if you want to move the controls left, right, center, whatever, wherever you want to move, you can move it easily with the help of flexbox. So mostly the flexbox is only the control that we use it if you want to align it. But apart from that, there are other controls also, like block layout is there. Okay, layout data is also there. You can also use simple form. Okay, so couple of controls are there, but mostly this flex box, it can help you to achieve whatever you want. Okay, so in flex box, I will just choose this first option. Okay, when I choose this option, if you see, each and every option is available here, like however we want, right? Like lower right, lower center, lower left, middle right. What we want, actually middle center we want, right?
Okay.
Because in the entire page, we want this form to be aligned exactly in center. Okay, irrespective of any screen device, means whatever the resolution of the device, every time it should appear exactly in the center. Okay,
Okay.
so to achieve this, if I go to the source code, middle center, okay, so let me go to the source code. So that's why SAP has developed this API reference, just so that developers' life, it can be made more easy, right? If you have couple of examples, you can directly copy and paste. But as you're learning, right, Shiva? So don't copy anything. Just try to write it. Means at least type and just practice it, so
Yeah.
that
Okay.
at the time of the requirement, when new requirement comes, so for sure you will remember that this is what the control we have and we can easily use it, right?
Okay.
But if you're just copy pasting, then let's say if there is some errors, if you want to fix some errors in the XML, so it's very hard, it's very complex, okay, to fix it quickly.
Okay.
You will lose a lot of time in order to fix that issue, because debugging the JavaScript code, it's very easy. But debugging XML code, there is no way to debug the XML code. Okay. So that's one thing we have to remember always. So before we add anything, so we have to make sure that whatever the syntax SAP has provided, same syntax we have to follow. If you're making any single alphabet, which should be a capital in case of XML, and you're making it as a small, right? Still, it will create an issue. Okay, so now we will just try for middle center. If you look at the middle center, we have the flex box. Okay, inside the flex box, they have added two important properties like align items and justify content. So these are two important properties which we have to use. Okay, and apart from that, they have provided a fixed height, which is in px. Okay, but now in our case, let's say if I added a height as 100 px, so what will happen? So this 100 px, it will be fixed. But in future, let's say I want to change the device. Means now I'm running this on the laptop. So for sure, my laptop height, it's not 100 px. At least it would be minimum 700 or 800, somewhat like that. It cannot be 100 px, because according to device, your px value will vary, right?
Yeah.
It
Okay.
cannot be fixed. Now it will take according to your laptop. Okay, according to your laptop, let's say, now let's do one thing. I'll show you. Okay, let me just copy this flexbox, or otherwise I'll add it here. Okay, so let's add one flexbox here. Okay, flexbox, it has height. Sorry, like, okay, see here also options are not coming. Okay, now it is coming. Align items. This is strange. Okay, so align item and justify content center. Okay, and after that, so I'll just copy this. Okay, fine. So now, if I want to beautify it, okay, it's getting beautified. No, it did not beautify it, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so there is one extension we can add here. If you want to beautify, right?
Okay.
So you can just go to the extension, just scroll down, okay, and you can search for XML, XML formatter or something. For sure, there would be a formatter. Okay, pretty XML is there. We have one pretty XML or XML editor. Couple of controls are there. Okay, 1 second. I think we can use this XML tools. Okay. Okay. I think it's done. Okay, fine. Now, if I want to beautify this, okay, so now it's asking me the how you want to beautify it. See, it's formatted right now.
Yes.
Okay, okay, fine. So now let's go back to the app and let's see how the output is looking like. See, okay, fine. Now
Yeah,
it's
fine.
coming, but as of now, it's coming in the center, not exactly in the page center. Only on the top, it's coming in the center. But I want to assign it. I want to align it exactly in center. Okay. So if you want to align it exactly in center, so for that, we have to add a height. Okay. So now they have provided 100 px, right? So if I provide a 100 px height, so you can see the output. Can you see now? This is how the problem will happen. Okay. But let's say I want to check this on the device. Okay. Let's say you want to see the responsiveness of the app. Okay. For example, if you see, I will just select iPhone 12 Pro. So on iPhone 12 Pro, this is how it will look like, which is not good actually, right? Our top label, it's already getting wrapped. It's hidden now. We
Yes.
can't even see. Okay. So now what I will do, if you want that height to be responsive, right? Instead of px, you provide percent value. So according to the percent, it will adjust. Okay. Can you see now?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Now it's coming exactly in center. Okay. So apart from that, now let's say I want to make it, there are a couple of options. Okay. Let's say if you want to bring it in a tile format, I'll tell you. Um, there are a couple of options which are available. Equal columns. For sure, there would be a design property which will help us to align it exactly in center. Okay, don't see any align. Background design. Okay, okay. You can see, right, what they have done. They have added flexbox. After that, they have used flex item data. And in that, they have added background design as a solid.
Okay.
Okay, that's how they have done. But let's say I'll try this. Okay, just trying this. Okay, let me see. Okay, nothing is happening. Okay, fine. Yeah, we can do something after that.
Okay.
Okay. So first of all, the simple form is ready, right? So let's add one title to simple form. Why there is no property for the title? It's not even updating. Okay. So sign up is coming on the top. Fine. After that, first name, last name, and then okay. Yeah. So now let's add some couple of properties. If you see, if you look at the screen, right, there is a lot of gap between both input fields. If you look at it, like first name, after that, if you can see there is a lot of gap after that last name, right?
Yes.
So let's do one thing. So first we will add last name and after that first name, last name and the password. Okay, let's add two more fields. Password type equal to password. Okay, and then at the end what we need one radio button. Radio button we need, but look what we can do for radio button. Maybe we can add it as a separate. Okay, not inside the simple form. If we add also, okay, let me do one thing. Okay, let me add a radio button here. Okay, radio button. So text for radio button is I accept terms. Fine. So just adding it. Okay, after that, at the end, we need a button, right? Button for sign up. SIGN. Okay, fine. So our form is designed now. Okay, okay. Can you see now? Okay, so our
Yes, I can say.
radio button is coming at the below, and after that there is a sign up. Okay, but
Yeah.
now let's do one thing. Now let's do okay. So radio button is coming, and after that the sign up, which is good only, I would say. Okay, let's say if I want to add little bit some space on the top, right? Because this radio button, it's completely it's not looking good. Okay, I'm just adding one class, standard class in SAP UI5. SAP UI tiny margin top. Okay, just adding a little bit tiny margin on the top. Okay, and after that for button also, I'll add a same thing so that there would be at least some part of space and it will look neatly, right? It will look neat and clean. Okay, looks like it's SAP UI. Okay, my bad. Should be okay. SAP UI tiny margin top. Now it will come. Okay, fine now. Okay, some space. It has been added on the top, and for button also we have added some space on the top. Okay,
Yes.
so
Yeah.
this is okay. So now the form is exactly aligned in the center. Okay, after that, this is one thing. So automatically, if you see, do we have added anything to make this label on the top and input field on the below? Nothing we have added, right?
Yes.
But how this is happening? Okay, let's consider now if I comment this code, flexbox. Okay, let's see now. Okay, now let's see the output. If I comment this code, only the flexbox, you will see a layout. Can you see now?
Yeah, I can say.
Okay, this is the problem. Okay, but why it is getting wrapped? Because what simple form will do now, the space available space inside the flexbox is very less, and then that space is only available in a device like mobiles. Okay, so for
Okay.
mobile, the standard property is, I mean, for mobile, what it will do, uh, always your label will always come on the start on the top, and below that input field will appear. Okay, this is how it will work in case of mobile. You don't need to add anything, but simple form will what it will do, depending on the space, depending on the available space, it will always make input field to wrap on the next line. Okay, not on the same line, because we don't know, because label in future it might be more, means it the length of the label it might be more, right? So that's
Yes.
why, depending on that situation, what they have done, that they have directly wrapped the input field on the next line. Okay, so let's
Okay.
say I want to align this form as it is, okay, without thinking about the flex box. Okay, let's say I want to align this form here itself. Okay, what I can do, so if I want to achieve this, right, okay, first of all I need to make it 100%. Okay, this is our 100%. Okay. So now let's do one thing without flexbox. Let's make this simple form properly aligned. Okay. So now in simple form, we have various properties, various layout options. Okay. In which one of them is the responsive grid layout. Okay. If you go to the layout option, we have 4 layout options like column layout, grid layout, responsive grid layout, and the responsive layout. But I will choose responsive grid layout. Okay. So whenever I'm choosing a grid layout, okay. So grid means your entire screen. Your entire screen will be divided in 12 parts. 12 parts means 12 columns. Okay.
Okay.
So if I'm using responsive grid layout, so your automatically your entire simple form means the space which is available, right? From this corner, from sign up till the end. Okay. So this space will be divided in 12 columns. Okay. So now in these 12 columns, you have to tell the simple form how much label should take, how much input field should take this space. That you need to tell to who? You need to tell to the simple form. Okay. So if you want to tell that, depending on the requirement. So first of all, after layout, there is one more option like adjust label span. Okay. This we have to make it as false, because once we make it as a false, so this label will react depending on the value you provide to the property. Otherwise, this label will be handled or this will be automatically adjusted. Okay, 1 second. One second. I think. Okay, fine. Yeah. So once we add adjust label span, right? So once we add the adjust label span, so your label span will not react. Can you see now? Previously it was coming in the left hand side corner, right? Now it is moved little bit on the right hand side. Okay. Why?
Okay.
Because there are a couple of options which I will show you now. 1 second. Why this is not going up? Okay. Let me go to the simple form. Okay, if you go to the simple form, the properties, okay, can you see the here adjust label span? So it's already mentioned by default value is true. So what will happen? So if you're adding, if you're making it as a false, right, it won't react. It will only react based on the property that you will provide, based on the values you will provide to the label span. For example, when I scroll down, right, yeah, can you see here label span L, label span M, label span S, and label span XL. So we have 4 properties. Okay. So in these 4 properties, manually, you have to provide the number of columns. For example, the requirement is in the Excel means if the screen is extra large, that is a 4K screen. In that screen, I want to see label and input field in the same line. Okay. But in the large screen, not in the extra large, but in the normal HD or full HD screen, I want to see label on the first line and input field on the second line, not on the same line. Okay. And the same requirement is in the tablet, and the same requirement is in small device like mobiles. Okay. So what these properties will do, So these properties will make sure that these properties are already defined in Simpleform API. Okay. When you provide a label span L means it is for large screen. Okay. That you will provide a fixed number of columns to your large screen, to the labels, spatially, not to the input fields, to the labels. Okay. Same like that, you will provide a label span M for medium device. So in a medium device, it will be it will be tablet. Okay. For small screen, it would be mobile, and for Excel means extra large. That means it is for 4K screens. Okay, so this is how the properties are defined. So what I will do now, by default, my screen size is it's a L screen. Okay, it's not a extra large, it is a L screen. So if I provide a property here, okay, like label span L. So in this label span L, let's say I'm making it as a 12. Okay, let's see the output now. Okay, can you see now the difference?
Yeah. Yes,
Okay,
sir.
so the difference is I made label span L as this is a large screen. So I made label span L as a 12. 12 means this label, it should take entire 12 columns for that row. Got it?
Yeah,
It should
good.
take entire 12 columns for that row, because
Okay.
at the end, each control will be displayed in the row, right? In that particular row. It won't take all the page. It will take only that specified row. Okay. So I told the label to take entire 12 columns for the large screen, but I didn't provided any fixed value to the small, to medium, and to extra large. Okay. If you want to provide, you can provide it. That's not a problem. Okay, 1 second. It's like someone is facing. I don't know why candidates are struggling to join proper meeting. Shiva, how you joined? You joined through the calendar only, right?
Yeah, calendar only. Whatever link you
Okay.
sent me, I joined.
Okay, okay, okay. 1 second, 1 second. Think we got the problem. No, we joined right only. Today is 24, right? Okay. Okay, 1 second, let me check which one we joined now.
You can stop recording after that. Once recording, you can stop.
No, 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 no. 1 minute, 1 minute. Okay, 1 second. I think I need to forward a meeting invite here. 1 minute, huh? Hello.
Hi, hi.
Hi. I think Josefa, I think we joined. I don't know whether because
The calendar link is not joining me to this meeting. I don't know.
yeah, okay. No, looks like maybe I have started the Saturday one. I don't know. Means yeah. Shiva, maybe
Oh,
you started the Saturday one. Shiva.
no, 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 no. Me? I sent
Yes,
you
yes.
screenshot. Have I?
Yeah. Wait. I'll show you.
Today 8 to 10.
Yes. Can you
This
see now
is
my screen?
um, Wi-Fi
See?
Sunday 8 to 10, na?
Yeah.
Yes, yes. That only I joined. I don't
Yeah,
know.
actually this one is wrong because I don't know, means by default Shiva has already started this, and then because of that only I directly joined there. That's why Josefa, you faced some problems. No issues, okay. But it's okay that at least we will have the recording and we can share. But still, I mean, the
No,
next
no.
coming
It's
Saturday
okay.
we
It's
can join
okay.
with the same only.
Now and right now my I'm coming late. I'm going early from the meeting. My Ramzan is going on, and it's not
Uh-huh.
really
Okay,
not being
okay.
able to. But next week on, I yes, I will be.
Okay,
I'll
no issues,
streamline
no
everything
issues.
here.
Yeah. Okay, fine. So far, Josefa, we have just discussed the simple form layouts, okay, and then still we are discussing it. Okay. So now, if you see, we have just made label on the top, and after that, the input field is coming on the next line. Okay, and how this label is coming on the top because of the property that we have added is label span L. Okay, because as I'm using a large screen, my device is large screen, so we have the property like label span L. Okay, if I want to use the uh, let's say my screen is a 4K, right? So for sure it would be a extra large screen. So for extra large screen, we have label span XL rather than L. We have a label span XL. Okay, but as a user, right? I don't have to take care of. I don't need to worry about on which device I'm going to run this app, right? So as a developer, I need to take care of all these things because user, for sure, you cannot tell the user that you have to use large screen. You don't have to use extra large screen, right? So this is our responsibility that as a developer, we should make sure that in each and every device type, okay, our simple form, it should be aligned properly. Okay, it should not display in a unaligned format like your label is coming on the left hand side, second label is going there on right hand side. This is not it should happen. Okay, it should be aligned properly in a same line. So for that, what you need to do, guys? Always, whenever you're designing a simple form, right? You need to provide all the properties to the different label span. Like label span L, you provide 12. Let's say for Excel, I want to provide 6. Okay, so let's say for medium, I want to provide 12, and for small, by default, it is 12 only in small screens. Okay, so once you provide all these properties, then only your form will be responsive. Going forward, any okay, it will be responsive on any type of device. You don't need to worry if you specify all these properties properly. Okay, so now I'm just specifying it for the label span L as a 12. So let's say I want to specify it for the label span XL. So in label span XL, I want to make it as a 6. Label span medium, it should be 12. And again for label S, it should be 12. Okay, so I made this 12. Okay, fine. Now this is the extra large screen. Okay, let me inspect this and I'll show you how we can test. Okay, so now, okay, fine. Now, if you see, we have various, can you see below here, this bar? This bar has various options, okay? Whichever screen format or the screens you wanted, the different resolutions or a pixel. Okay, so now if you see for 140/40 px also, this is how your form will look. Okay, but let's say I want to check it for mobile. For mobile, this is how your form will look. Okay, let's say I want to check it for the tablet. For tablet, this is how it will look. Okay, for the tablet. And let's say I want to check it for large. Okay, 1 second. Tablet. I'm just checking the extra large option here. Extra large. Okay. So where is that extra large option? Say I'm going to add 1990. It's only taking 4040px. Okay, 1 second. It's okay. Yeah, let me see once. Why I don't see extra large option here now. 550 108. The max resolution I can see here. Where is the 4K? Okay, let's say this is your app, right? Okay, let's say I'm going to minimize it. Okay. Why it's not working? Layout is advanced. Label span Excel. For Excel, it should be 6. Guys, I'm unable to check it. Okay. I'm unable to test it now.
Vic, just go ahead, no problem.
No problem, right?
Yeah, yeah, no problem. It might be something.
Hmm. No. Actually, that 4K option is not getting. At the start, we saw that, right? After that, it's not coming now. Okay, so once you make this label span Excel, right? So what it will do now, as of now, you're able to see first label or the first name on the top and the input field on the next line. But if you're making label span Excel as a 6, so this label it will take 6 column. Okay, half of the distance, because as we are using responsive grid layout as a layout option, so grid layout or grid system, will it will always work in 12 columns. Okay, apart from the 12 columns, there would be no like 13 and 14 columns. If you're using grid, so the entire grid will be divided in 12 parts. So from that 12 parts, the label is taking six columns for that row. So as this is the row, so it will take 6 columns and the remaining column will be taken care by the input fields. Okay, this is how it will work for the columns, for the labels. Okay, so when it comes to the medium device, yeah, for sure it will take the entire row, all the 12 columns. So there should be no columns more than 12. Okay, maximum is 12 only. Okay, so now this is done. Yeah. So after that, let me just comment out this code. Second.
Avik, is it possible to have a simple form with two sides equally dividing the page into two parts?
Uh, no, I'm not getting. Means what we have? We should have two column, two
Like,
forms.
yeah, means this is one page. All
Mm-hmm.
the inputs are in one single line. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
but I want to put this on the right hand side, and then suppose I want to put first name on the right hand side and last name on the left hand side. Then
Mm-hmm.
password on the right hand side and the sign up button on the left hand side, like that.
Mm-hmm. Means okay, you want to
Like
see two
in
forms at the
yeah,
same time in a single row.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's possible. Okay, so what we can do here, see if you look at the simple form concept, right? So if you want two form containers in the same single form, we have to add the title. Okay, whenever you add a title control, so what it will say, it will create a new group, which is nothing but a form container in the form. Okay, so I need to add this, say a title control. Okay, I'll show you how that is done. So I'll add a code. Okay, there is no core library, right? XMLNS. Okay, core. Oh, okay, so now title is coming here. And after that, for the title, I'll just add the text. Or I will not add any text. Okay, so let it be as it is. So now let's say I want this last name, right? On the same line. Okay, and the password again, it should be, let's say I'm adding below first name, I'm just adding a password.
The
Okay, and
the
this,
closing tag might have to come after the password title, then close core title.
yeah, where is the label? Oh. 1 second. Input field for the password. This is label. Okay. Now let's see how the output is. Okay. Still, if you see, we need this password on the right. Sorry, the password is right only. We need the last name on the right hand side. Okay. But why this is not happening? Because we need to add one more property. Okay. As the space is very less because we have added the flex box. Okay. If I comment this out, let me show you once.
Okay. There's a slight error in the code. Just close. You have done code title, close code title. Okay, that is proper. Means
No, it should no, it's coming actually.
okay,
It took some time. Okay, can you see
okay.
now here?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so this last name is coming exactly on the right hand side. Why? Because of in by default for the column L, right? So there is a two property. Okay, so we need to add this. We need to specify this columns L. So if you're making this as a two, it means two form containers will be aligned horizontally. If you are providing it as a three, so three form containers will be aligned in a same row. But if you want to add four, so four form containers will be aligned. But how four form containers will be aligned based on the core title property. If you're adding four core titles, right? Like this is
Yes, yes,
one,
yes.
this is second. And if you're adding two more, so this
Then
form will be,
four
yeah,
divisions will
four
happen.
form containers will be created.
You can write it like this as a single tag also, right? The title thing rather than open source tag.
Yeah, yes. Self-closing tag, right?
Yeah, yeah.
See, now it
Yes.
is expecting a four columns.
Two
That's why
more
the space got
columns.
reduced. Yes. Okay, if I add this like this, okay, 1 second, I'll just comment out this button actually. I will just copy the same core title 2 times more. Now let's see the output. Can you see now? Okay. This is how it will look if you want to align it exactly on the right hand side. Okay. So we have to make sure that if you want that two or three input fields aligned on the same row, right? So you have to provide the values in columns L. So as this is a large screen, so for large screen, I have specified that it should at least consider a 4 form containers. But let's say for if the screen is of the medium size, so for medium size you can add it as a 3 or 2, because make sure that because in mediums, if you consider the medium screen device, right, for sure everything will not fit properly in that. Some text will be wrapped, so that should be one problem which will be created. So don't make it more squeezy. Okay, just make it little bit free only. It should look neat and clean.
True.
Okay, so this is how we can do, and fine, right? So okay, Shiva, any questions in this? Shiva or Josefa?
No, no.
Okay, so guys, can you try today? Means after this, the today's assignment would be you have to create your own registration form. It should be aligned exactly in center. Okay, it should be aligned exactly in center. And okay, that would be your first assignment for today. Means you still you guys will have at least 1 week. Okay, so utilize this time properly and just complete this assignment. Okay, so the assignment would be just you have to create one registration form. It should be aligned exactly in center. So you can also use other controls like radio buttons or checkbox. Okay, labels also you can provide directly, and based on that you can just display. Fine. Any questions?
No.
Okay, so that would be your assignment. So you can just go through this video once, and okay, just go through the video once and you can check this. Yeah. Okay, fine. So guys, can we move to the next part now? Controller.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
Avik.
let's start with the controller part now. So design is enough now. Okay, so designing part. Okay, so now the first assignment is just to design a simple registration page with a proper alignment. Okay, the alignment should be proper, and the second thing is it should be responsive. It should be responsive on any screen device. Okay, whatever the screen device, but it should be responsive. That one thing you need to take care. Okay, and this is your first assignment. Second assignment is yeah, you can go to the samples and you can search for icon tab bar. Okay, sorry, this one, icon tab bar, and you can use this tabs. Okay, you can design these tabs, info, attachment, notes, and people. So instead of that, you can create your own tabs. Okay, let's say you want to display the employee information, like employee personal information, professional information, or its summary. Okay, that's what in that way you can create a couple of tabs like this, and whichever tab is clicked, only that content should be displayed, right? So that should be your second assignment. Okay,
Okay.
any questions? Okay, if
No.
you want to design, you can use this icon tab bar. So for source code, as the source code is already available, you can just click on this icon and it will display the source code. But make sure that don't copy anything. Okay, just try to type it. At least type it. Why I'm telling you, it will make you, means it will be habit for you. Okay, and at the end, at least you will be at least you can remember some part of syntax. Okay. Okay, so this is your second assignment, guys. So just create the separate tabs, and each tab design one simple form and display the information. whichever, like let's say you want to display the personal information, create a simple form and add a different label. Same for the professional information also, create a simple form and add a different information. Okay, so like that you can create minimum 2 or 3 tabs, and in that you can display the each and every information of an employee. Okay, so the 2 assignments are there for today. And please make sure that before you come to the Saturday, right, for Saturday session, make sure that it should be completed. Or if you have any questions in these weekdays, you can ping me directly on WhatsApp. Okay,
Yeah, okay.
but don't give me any reason that it's not been done, I didn't get any time, please.
Yeah, okay, okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, fine. Okay, so now let's move to the next part, controller. So before we move to the next part, can we take a 5 minutes break? Let's
Yeah,
take only 5 minutes
Uh,
break, and we can start with the controller part.
yeah, okay.
That is also very important. So we can start in a 5 minutes. Hello, guys, are you back?
Yes, online.
Okay. Okay, 1 second. So let me align it properly. Okay. Okay. Okay, fine. Now this is how our form is looking. Okay, so what I will do now, let's start with the controller, right? So for controller, what especially the controller will do in our UI5 development. So before I start with the controller, as we know that SAP UI5 it follows MVC architectural design pattern. Okay, so when we talk about the MVC, right? So MVC means model view controller. So what we have done. So for the view, if I want to design a page, right? So generally all the controls or the XML syntax that each and everything I will do it inside the view part. Okay, when it comes to the screen designing, we have to prefer view. Okay, but now let's say I want to write a JavaScript logic. Okay, the place where you can just call it as a brain of this application. Okay, the place where which will manage our view and at the same time it will also manage our model. Okay, that place is the controller. So what controller will do? So in this example, if I consider this sign up page, okay, if I consider this a sign up page, so I will add one first name, I will add a password. Okay, so couple of information I will fill, and after that, as soon as I click, okay, as soon as I click on sign up button or some register button, a event will be fired. Okay, and that event we need to capture it inside the controller. Okay, so controller, it is a place where we can capture this events, means whatever you click on the screen. Okay, if user is clicking on the screen, so that event it needs to be captured, then only we can do the next operation, right? On that, if we can't do anything, if we are not able to capture, then how we can write the code? Okay, if we want that the web page or the application it should behave dynamically. Okay, it should behave based on the user interaction. So controller is what the place we have to write our code. Okay, so for every view, okay, so there is a one-to-one relationship between view and the controller. Okay, so for there is a one-to-one relationship between the view and the control. If you look at the registration page.view.xml, it has its own controller file, which is nothing but registration page.controller.js file. Okay, and how this relationship is maintained by providing a path of that controller file in this controller name. Okay, so we have provided a path of controller name. Sorry, we have provided the path of a controller inside the controller name property of the view. Okay, so I
Okay,
told.
this is the view
Mhm.
controller. Will there be a component controller as well?
Yes, yes, we have a component controllers also. There are different types of component, but that we will see in the later session. Okay,
Okay,
but
okay,
for sure we have a component.js file also, like base component, right? Sorry, base controller. Base
okay,
controller, which is normal JS file. It's not a like dot controller.js. It's only a base controller.
okay.
Okay, where you will mention your common code. And then from that common code only means any controller, if you want to access those common code, right? So you can easily access with the help of base control. Okay, so we'll see that base control more in detail when we have router and navigation. In that we for sure I will create one base controller and I will add my all the common code in a base controller. So going forward, all the controller, they have to extend that feature from the base controller. Then only they can access those information from the base controller. Then only they can call that function from the base controller in any control. Okay. Okay, so once I create, so now once I provide the controller name, right? So the controller, this is what the controller.js means. Generally, the extension for the controller would be .controller.js. Okay, so now as soon as I open this, let me open this registration page. Okay, this is how the syntax of the controller page will look like. If you consider the view, so view syntax or the structure of the view will always start from the view tag or the view control. And same like that for the controller, the structure of that controller page will always start from sap.ui.define. Okay, so this is just we are just defining a JavaScript model with the help of sap.ui.define. And what it will do, it will help us to create a subclass from the existing MVC controller. By default, if you look at this sap.ui.define section, it generally takes a first parameter. Okay, first parameter is nothing but your module name. Okay, this much, whatever you can see right in the array, this is the first parameter of that function. Okay, of that method, if you consider. So what it does, in the first parameter, we have to provide a module's name. Module's name means at the end, the XML namespace. In the view, how you are going to provide a library. So first you will declare XMLNS colon your alias name equal to your library name. This is how you will provide the path, right? So when it comes to the controller, this is how in the array, in the double quotes, we have to provide the name of the library or the name of the module that we want to load. But only the difference between XML and the controller is that if you look at the controller, right? Sorry, if you look at the XML, right? We have to provide sap.ui.core. Okay. Or if you look at this uh, library, sap.ui.core.mvc. But when you consider the controller, the dots will be replaced with the slash, right? So dots will be replaced with the slash. That is one difference. If you're declaring or if you're going to load that module at the start of this controller page. Okay. So now let's say I want to declare one more library or one more module. I just have to provide comma. Again, I will provide a double quotes and then I will write, let's say I'm declaring of Simpleform here. SAP/UI/layout/form. Okay. This is how I need to provide a name of the library in this module section. Okay. Because this sap.ui define, it provides. Okay, it provides a various features when you load this model, because this information, this model information, we need to provide it to the callback function or the factory function. So if you look at it, after the second parameter, sorry, after the first parameter, after the comma, if you see, we have declared one function. Okay, so this is just a comment which they have added it. Okay, just a comment. After that, we have a second parameter, which is a function. So in this function, whatever module we will load, right? Like controller, form. So that same parameters, that same information, we need to pass it to function. Okay, as a arguments. So this module will be represented by this name. Whatever you pass, you provide in this function. Okay. Now after that, let's say the second parameter is the form. So again, you will provide the path. You will provide the second name as the form. Okay, this is how we have to provide. Okay. So whatever the information you are loading it, right, to the library, whatever the libraries you are going to load, that same library information we have to pass it in the function. Like same what we are doing in this XML. What we are doing, once we load the library, we store it inside the core, right? And this core will represent this library. So same like that in this controller. So this first library, it will be represented by the controller name in this function. So now going forward inside the controller or inside the function, if I want to write a code or if I want to call that library, I can directly use this name. Okay. Like for in this example, if you see inside the function, they have used usestrict. So the purpose of usestrict is we have to make sure that before we use any variable, it has to be declared first. Okay. The best practice is we have to declare the variable and then we can use the variable. Okay, so we can't use the variable without declaring it. That's not a best practice. So this use trick, it will help us to follow that syntax. Okay, to follow that practice. Okay, because it just like a strict mode, which will make sure that if you are not declaring a variable and directly you are going to use, it will throw the error. So after that, there is a return keyword. Okay, so return means once this function will be triggered, right? So whatever the functions are getting triggered, or whatever the functions are getting triggered, so that response will be sent, or that response will be passed by this function with the help of return keyword. Because at the end, we will see the application running in a single page, that is in the index.html, right? So that is the case. Okay, so the controller and the form, let me remove this form. Second, simple form. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So now let me do one thing. Now let me add. So most important thing is, guys, the sequence is very important. Okay. So if you're declaring 2 or 3 libraries, right, or 2 or 3 modules, so the syntax is very important. If you're declaring first controller, then you have to provide the first parameter as a controller. Second, if you're loading form, and second parameter in this, you will be providing the simple form. Okay, so that syntax, it should be match. Okay, that sequence is very important. Okay, so now after that, okay, so let's do one thing. Let me create a footer at the below. So I'm creating a footer for the page. So for creating the footer, we have a footer aggregation, and inside that I can add a bar control, because bar control, it's specially used for the footer and header. Okay, so we have a couple of properties inside the bar, and then we have the aggregation for the bar, which is nothing but a content left, content middle, and the content right. So apart from that, there are other aggregations like custom data, dependents, and all. Okay, but now what I need a footer. I need a button exactly on the top, exactly at the bottom position. That is on the top. That is on the left, right hand side corner. Okay. So in the footer, I need the button to be on right hand side corner. So for that, I can directly use content right. So inside the content right, I will add a button. Okay, so for button, I am providing the text as like sign up. Okay, so now there is an event which will be triggered as soon as you press on the button. As soon as you click on the button, a press is the event which will be triggered. Okay, so for example, let me go back to the API reference and go to the button. Okay, if you go to the button, if you see the events, we have press and tap. Okay, so press is what the event we have. Okay, so this event, it will be triggered. When it will be triggered, once the user is clicking on the button. Once user clicks on the button, so the press event will be fired. And once this event will be fired, in the parameter or in the response, you will see the various information like get source, get parameters, and all. Okay, so I'm just going to add. So now under the press, I'm just calling one function. So I'm just declaring the function name or the method name. So like handle button press or button click, anything if you want to add, but make sure that the function names are camel case. Okay, so I'm writing it
So
after
in
the on init.
Avik, in case of a mobile phone or tablet, we can use tap,
Means
and on there's a press is one event and tap is another event, right?
but it's already outdated now.
It's outdated. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
can you
Okay.
see now? It's
Okay. Okay.
deprecated
Okay.
as of version 1.20.
Okay.
So
Okay.
now we
So
have
press is like
1.100.
universal.
Yes. So press is like
Okay.
universal. If you're going to click that button on tablet or mobile, anything, same, this press event will be fired.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So now, okay, once we provide the event handler name, right? So in this case, the event handler method name is handle button click. So now this function I need to declare. So this is how the function it need to be declared. So it follows the same syntax like the object. In the object, how we used to do in object, object is nothing but it is a collection of properties and the method. So the way the syntax we are following inside the object, same syntax we are following it. Because if you look at the syntax, right, we are declaring this properties. These properties are nothing but it's one kind of method only. So this properties we have to declare it inside the object. So this is our object which is starting from here and it's ending here. And inside that we are declaring the on init and the handle button click. Okay, so we'll see this on init afterwards. But before that, let's see how the functions are declared. Okay. So once you declare this function, colon function keyword and opening and closing parenthesis, and then after that, curly brackets, inside that we need to add our code. Okay, so now I'm just adding a O event. Okay, and here I will declare one variable where like button info. I'm just passing that O event to this button info variable. Okay, that's it. Okay, so let me, let it reload. And after that, let me debug this. So for debugging this application, you have to open your developers tool. Okay, so if you see our footer button is coming right on the right hand side corner, our footer button is coming. Okay, so if I want to inspect, you just click on the inspect. Close this. Okay, so this is our footer button. Now, where our files are located, where we can put the breakpoint. So if you want to put a breakpoint, you have to navigate to the source tab. And once you go to the source tab, you will see on the left hand side corner, you will see a files explorer. Okay, different file explorer you will see, under which we will have one controller folder. Because inside the controller folder only, we will be having our controller.js file. Okay, so just double click on it. Once you double click, this is how it will open on the right hand side. So in middle section is nothing but it's our editor, code editor, where you can edit the code and you can also put a breakpoint. Okay, so how to put a breakpoint? You just have to click on that line, particular line. A breakpoint will be kept or it will be set. So for example, I want to keep a breakpoint on line number 15. I just have to click on this 15. So once you click, a breakpoint will be set on the line number 15. Okay. After that, as soon as I click on the sign up, can you see now? Okay, automatically event got fired and now we are able to see a breakpoint inside the handle button click. Okay, this is how the events are captured inside the controller file. Okay, so now the event is, now the breakpoint is inside the inside the handle button click function, and it's under line number 15 because we have added the breakpoint on the line number 15. Okay, so now let's see what information we have in this O event. So this O event, it can be any name. It depends on you. Whatever name you have, you want to provide, you can add it. That is just a custom name which I have added, O event. Okay, so what this O event or this function will provide as soon as the event is triggered, right? So this O event is providing a various information like the ID of the button. Okay, like ID of the button, like source of the button. Okay, O source means uh, whenever you're clicking on any button. So for example, I have clicked on the sign up button, right? So it will return from which source event got fired. Okay, so now in this case, button is the source. It is a source from which event got fired, right? So button is the source from which event got fired. So that's why under the O source, we will have the button information. Okay. So button information means like what is the text of the button? Okay. What is the type of the button? The basic information, each and everything, like what is the parent, whether we have done any binding or not. Okay. What is the aggregation? Who is the parent of that button? So each and everything you will get it you will receive it inside the O source. Okay. Okay. So now let's say now the thing is. Okay, so now the
Adit, I
thing
lost
is
you
now
actually. What is O event? Is it the name of the function that you have called, or is it the what is that?
which one?
O event.
O event. See, O
Yes.
event is just a parameter which you have added.
Uh,
Okay, and this O
it is the
event,
name. It is an argument to the function,
yes, it is an
and
argument to the function. Okay, when
and then
mhm,
means you wrote O event inside that brackets,
mhm,
and then you gave the variable the value O event. But
yes, just I'm trying to show that once you trigger the event, right? So that
okay,
event will provide you the information with the help of this argument.
okay,
Okay. Okay, so that's what it is mentioned right here on the press. So once the
okay,
press event is fired, it will return get source and it will also return get parameters.
okay.
Okay,
Get source and get
get
parameter.
parameters. Okay, fine now. So yeah, so with the help of this O event, you can get it each and every information. Like let's say I want to get the text of the button because let's say I have just handled a single button and that single button name only I'm changing depending on the requirement. Let's say we have the two buttons approve and reject. Okay, we have a two buttons approve and reject, but in the screen I didn't created a two separate buttons. Instead of that, I have just created a single button. Only I'm changing the name of the button. Okay, so only I'm changing the name of the button. So let's say on the runtime, I want to change the name of the button. So first of all, I will check what is the name, what is the existing name of the button. So if you want to get, you can write o event dot get source. So get source means your button now. Okay, till here o event dot get source, you will have your button. Uh, you will have a reference of your button in your hand till o event dot get source. After that, if you say dot get text, once you call get text, it will return the text of the button. So how I'm able to get this method? Because for every properties, whatever properties we define right here, for every properties, we have a methods for it. Okay, like let's say I want to get the icon which I have specified for the button, so we have get icon. Let's say I want to get the text of the button, so I have get text. Let's say I want to get the type of the button, I have get type. Okay, but there is also the setter methods. So there is a get and set methods for each and every control. Okay, so with the help of those with the help of those methods, you can handle the controls dynamically on the runtime. Okay, based on the user click, let's say, so the requirement is I want to disable the button or I want to enable some button or I want to change the button on the particular event fire. So as soon as that event is fired, so with the help of these methods, you can do whatever operation you want to do on the respective controls. Okay, any questions guys in this? So for every
No.
controls, you have to explore the button methods. And you also have to explore the events. So this is also third assignment. Okay. So the assignment is third assignment is you have to see each and every methods, not each and every, at least try at least 10 to 15 methods from each and every control so that you will be familiar how that will work. Okay, fine. Any questions, guys?
No,
Okay, so let's do one thing. Now I have the get text with me, right? So the text is sign up. So I'm just adding one condition, means not I will not add here. I'll go to the here. Okay, let's say I'm adding if o event dot get source dot get text. Okay, if the get text is sign up, SIGN, if the text is sign up, so I will just change the text of the button. So if I want to change the text of the button, as event.get source is nothing but our button only, right? So after that, I will write dot set text. Okay, inside the text set text, you have to provide a new name. Like instead of sign up, you can write it as login. Okay, so now let's do one thing. Now let's reload this. Okay, let it reload. Okay, just hold on for a second. Yeah. Okay, so now as soon as I click on button, right, an event will be fired. Okay, after that event, I'll move to the next line. So for moving next line, there is one step over next icon. Okay, exactly after to this resume icon. Okay, so now if I hover on this, right, I'll just select from the O event till get text. So our text is sign up. So for sure, this condition will satisfy, right? So now it will go inside this. Now after that, if the button text is sign up, so it will set the new text to the button as a login. So if I execute this, can you see now the text got changed for the button? Okay, this is how we have to change the text of the button on the runtime. So let's say again I'm clicking, so nothing will happen, right? This now the condition will be different. It won't go inside because if you look at the get text, right, now it will return login instead of sign up, it will return the login because button got updated now with the different text. So it won't go. Okay, guys, are you getting it right?
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Okay, so now let's do one thing now. Let's do one thing. So on press of the button, let me
But
let's see.
Avik, in
Mhm,
when you do the get text,
mhm,
that time you do it with an equal to sign. But when
mhm,
you set text, that time you set it inside the brackets.
mhm. So how that is
It's
done,
pretty
right?
confusing.
Okay, okay. See, for that, that's why I have told you. So whenever you are getting the text, for example, I'll click on this get text. As soon as you get the text, what it will do, it will return gets the current value of the property text. So whatever value you have defined, specified inside the text property, that value only it will return with the help of get text. But whenever you're trying to set, so inside the get text, there is no parameter. You can see, right? It will
Right.
only return string. But if you
Okay.
look at this set text, okay. So if you look at the set text, we have to pass the parameter or we have to
Okay.
pass that information. And what
Okay.
is that S text? S text means nothing but it is a string value.
So,
Okay.
so if
And
you
it
want to
says
look at the method, you go in the method drop down and then there's a list of methods,
yes.
and then you get the idea of
Hmm.
the
But for
syntax
sure,
in.
one thing I can say, if you're calling get method, you don't have to pass anything in get method.
Okay.
Okay, for a couple of things, you don't have to specify. There are some things for which you have to specify the property, then only it will get the value for that particular thing.
Okay.
But mostly, if you're calling get method, right, mostly you don't have to specify anything inside the parenthesis.
Yes.
For sure,
Yes.
it will return some value.
Yes. I
But if
understand.
you're doing some set, right, so 99% you have to pass the
You have
value,
to pass it with some parameter. Yeah.
some parameter or some value.
Yeah. And in
Okay.
case of get, it is got whatever is there. So you don't have to pass
Yes.
a parameter, and equal to will equate it with whatever values has been got. Okay.
Right. Right. Okay. So for example, I'll show you one more example for the get. So it would be totally different. Okay, so now let's say my event is fired. Okay, whenever I have the event fired and my breakpoint is at the line number 15, then only you can access this O event. Okay, then only you can see the information inside the O event. Let's say after that, let's say you're directly going to the console and you're typing O event, it will return undefined. Sorry. Okay, because it will say O event is not defined because the reference is not there, right? It doesn't have any reference inside the console. So make sure that your debugger is triggered or your breakpoint is kept. And once your debugger is activated, right? And once you have the breakpoint at that particular line inside that function, so you can check each and every value properly. Just you can hover on it and you can see. So you have to trigger that, and there should be the breakpoint which should be activated. Your debugger should be active in that case. Then only you can access that information. Okay, so now the next example is inside the O event. Okay, so let's say inside the O event, I want to get the information from the parameter. Okay, we have M parameters inside which I have one property ID. So I want to get the ID of the button. So how I will get that? I will write O event dot get parameter. And inside the get parameter in the single quote, I will single or double quote, I will pass ID. Can you see now? Okay, this is also one more way to get the information. Okay, because let's say if M parameter is providing multiple information, like there are a couple of properties. So if you write get parameter, it won't return anything. See, nothing it will return. Okay, but there is one more method, get parameters. If you call get parameters, it will return all the information, whatever it's available inside the M parameter. But if you want to get a specific information with the help of get parameter, you have to provide that property name like this. Okay, then only it will get the information and it will provide you. Is it clear, guys?
Yes.
Okay, fine now. Okay, let's do one thing now. Let's access some values from the username and the password. So I'm providing a ID to the input field. ID equal to. So I'm providing a ID to the input field as ID first name. Okay, same like that for password also. Only for input field I am providing ID. We don't need label, right? Because we are not entering value inside the label. At the end, we are entering the value inside the input field. So that's why I'm providing a ID property to the input field. So this ID property is available for almost all the controls, not for the aggregation. Okay, so for aggregation, it will not work. It will only work for the controls. So now ID first name and ID password. Fine. So now if I want to access that information, right? So I'm okay. Let me comment this for a second. Okay, let's say I'm declaring one variable var first name. Okay, so how to get a value? Okay, how to get a value from that username input field? So for getting the value from the user input field, as we have provided the value, right? So first of all, we need to get the view, because at the end that control is available inside the view, not in the control. So we have to write this dot get view. This means the current controller. Okay, so this is pointing out to the current controller. In this case, the current controller is registration page dot controller dot js5. Okay, so that is our current. This is our current controller. Means this variable, this keyword, it is pointing out to the current controller. Now from this current controller, I'm calling one more method, get view. So this get view, it will help you to get the view of that controller. Okay. So from this current controller, I want to get the view of that associated controller. So that I will get it with the help of get view method. And after that, I will write dot by ID. So by ID means which ID you have to pass. Let's say I want to pass the ID first name. I'll go back here. I'll directly provide the ID name
Avik,
in a single quotes.
how does UI5 know what view belongs to what controller?
How does UI5 knows?
Means
What
you
view
said
belongs to this controller,
this
right?
dot get view.
Okay.
Yeah, but
See, this means in this case registration page.
Mhm.
Okay, registration page, that means it is a controller only in this
Yeah.
case. Okay, now how we know that whether which view is associated with it? Okay,
Mhm.
how that will know? Because of this view. If you look at the view, we have already provided the controller name,
Okay.
right? So we have already provided the controller name. Now there is already a relationship between a view and the controller, which is nothing but one-to-one relationship.
Right.
Okay, so whenever you're calling this dot get view, so it will make sure that it has some view. Okay, first of all, it will check the view and it will get the access, or it will get that information of that associated view.
Okay.
Okay, it is handled internally.
Yeah. By any chance, does the manifest contain a mapping?
Does by the chance means?
By any chance, does the manifest have a mapping, matlab, view to controller?
No,
Because
no,
here
no.
the mapping is
Manifest.
in the view page. The
Yes.
view page has a controller name,
Yeah,
but the
this mapping.
controller,
Yeah, tell me.
because here the view is naming the controller. The view is saying
Right.
this is my controller.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but on the component level, like
Okay, on the
there's a
component level.
manifest.json.
Right.
By any chance, does that have that mapping that this view belongs to this controller or this controller belongs to this view?
No, this inside the manifest, what we do actually, inside the manifest, actually, we will just create a routing and configuration.
Okay.
If you want to define a configuration for the routing, right? Means, for example, if I want to jump from first view to the next view, so that configuration we will maintain inside the manifest.
Okay.
Okay,
But
but
the
when it
mapping
comes
of
to
the view to
Mhm.
controller is there on the view level only. It means the in the view the controller name is written.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. But for sure, this registration page.controller.js file, for sure, we have to provide this information in the view. Means the view information is already there. If I remove this, right? For example, I'm just removing this controller. Let's try. Let's give a try. Okay, let's give one more try and let's see. Okay, could not. Okay, I don't see as of now any error. Fine. This is good. Okay. Okay. So now the thing is, so now as soon as I fire the event, right? Okay. Okay. Can you see now one thing? Where is our controller?
It's not there.
It's not there. Why?
The view has not assigned itself a controller. So
Yes.
it's only going
Okay.
to show a layout.
Yeah. Now got it.
Okay.
Now
So
this is
what
the
Wi-Fi
problem.
does is that it first shows the view and then the view says that I have a controller.
Yes. Okay. So without view, because at the end, you will display this information inside the view, not on the controller. Okay. Because view is the control which is acting as a container for other controls. So if I'm not going to specify any controller, right? So my design will be ready, but I can't even I can't even capture the events. Now let's say I'm clicking on the sign up, nothing will happen here. See, because the controller itself is not there. Okay, so at least I hope you got it now.
Okay.
Okay, so now if I specify, so what will happen? That view will be loaded and parallelly that controller file will also get loaded. Okay, you can see that information in the network tab. Can you see this registration page.view.xml and then after that registration page.controller.js file? Okay. So both informations are means first of all it will load the file and after that it will bring. Okay, so now let's see how we can get the information. So I'm just clicking on this sign up. Now I'm just typing this. So what is this? This means it is returning the registration page in this case. Okay, and it has OView. Okay, it has M event registry. So from this I want to get view. So you will write this dot get view. Okay, because inside the OView we have means inside the OView only we have the views information, right? So I can get that information with the help of get view method. Okay, and after that I will write dot by ID. Okay, so inside the by ID in a single quote, I will provide the ID of first name input field. So what is ID? ID first name. Okay, so once you provide the ID, then only you will see the ID of first name. That is input field. Can you see that information here? Okay, ID first name. Now, as of now, the value is blank. Nothing is there. Okay, so now let's say I want to set the value inside this input field. So now this is just like a source only for me. This dot get view dot by ID. Inside the by ID, you're passing ID first name. So this is your actually source of the control. So the source of the control is the first name input field. Okay, and from that source, you can directly call any other methods of that input fields. Like for setting the value. Okay, as input field, for input field, we have a value property. So if I want to set a value to the property, to the value property, there is a method set value. So I will write dot set value. And inside the set value, I will pass information like John. Okay, can you see now here in the first name? Automatically that value got updated into the input field. Okay, this is how we will do. So let's say I want to now get the value. So you can call the method get value. So once you get the value, it will return whatever the value it is available inside the value property. Okay. Same like that. Let's say I want to make it as a blank. So inside the set value, I will pass blank or empty string. So it will make that value blank. Can you see now? It is blank now. Okay. This is how we can get the value, or this is how we can get the ID or the source of the control. Okay. So how to get the source or how to access that input field inside the controller? So with the help of this dot get view dot by ID, and inside the by ID, you have to provide the name of the ID, which is in the string format. Okay, this is the standard syntax. Okay, guys, are you getting it now?
One minute.
Okay, yeah, I know that it's a little bit confusing, but at least in couple of weeks you will be familiar with this syntax. Okay, but make sure that today's your assignment would be this three assignments I have already assigned you. Okay, explore the methods, design registration page, and then
Avik,
design a different
just
tabs.
one favor. Can you just write the set code on line number 20?
Which one?
On below the get code, you have
Mm-hmm.
given var o first name. Can on line 20, can you set a first name to some word? Like, can you set it to Avik?
Yeah. Okay. So as I have this control source inside O first name variable, right? So this
Okay.
is our variable. Inside that we have stored the source of the first name input field. So now from this O first name, I can directly call any other method like set value.
Okay.
Okay. You can also write first name dot get value, or you can again set it to the blank.
Okay.
Okay, fine.
I just
Okay, this is
I know it would be much out of scope, but of this lecture, but I wanted to know, like, Means
Mm-hmm.
how we would handle tables and all that, because
Tables.
we are handling single variables or
Mm-hmm.
but
Table,
like
how
how
you will handle, right? See,
columns and
yeah,
rows, all that.
columns and rows means if you have lot of information, so it's not that much handy that you will assign each and every ID to the row and the columns, and after that you can access. That's not a good practice. In that case, we have to use the JSON model. Okay. That's where the model concept will come, and we have to bind the model so that going forward, let's say if I want to get the information from the 10 fields in a single line, so I can easily get it with the help of model. I don't need to declare this state syntax like this dot get view dot by ID, and inside that you will provide the ID of that particular control. We don't have to provide that. Within a single line of code, if the data binding is already done on that simple form, on that respective all the input fields. So once you get the model information, you will see that whatever user has typed in that input field, that same information will be updated automatically inside the model. So at the time of, if you want to do the post operation, if you want to create a record in the database, you can get that information as it is and you can pass it in the payload. Okay. So that's a coming topic. So don't worry on that. As of now, let's focus on this. Just showing you, I'm just trying to show there are different steps to get the to access the values from the respective input fields or the controls. Okay. So this is one way. So mostly what happens, right? Let's say if you have only 2 and 3 input fields, so you can directly access the values. So that's not a problem. But make sure that whatever IDs you are providing, right, it should be stable IDs. Okay, so these are the stable IDs, and which is a best practice actually. But if I want to tell more, so try to avoid using IDs. Okay, if you're handling it through more with the help of models, so that would be great rather than using the IDs. Okay, so try to use less IDs,
So if
because
we
what
don't
will
use
happen, let's
IDs,
say if the same ID is available in the next page, means in a single app, we have 2 or 3 view files. And let's say if
so
the
if
same ID is assigned to the next view.
but if we don't use IDs, then how do we identify how to get that particular tag?
Okay, if you're not going to provide any ID, right? So how you will identify? So for that,
Uh,
basically what type of information you will get it? Means especially for the input fields, you only want to access the values from the input fields, right? So for
right.
sure that you will assign one property, a property which will identify that input field. So for example, I am binding one property first name to the input field. I'm binding one more property password to the input field. Okay. So at the time of getting the model, so that property will be updated with that respective input field's value. So from that property name, I can easily identify, right? So that property is holding the first name's value. That property is holding password's value. Okay,
In this
that's a
page,
coming
in this,
topic.
yes, but in this page, is there a property to any label or input on?
Sorry, in this
It's
page,
not
what?
here in this particular page. Is there an example of a property of a particular control
Yes, value.
value?
Yeah. So value is a property of input field, input control.
Okay, so value. Uh, okay, so in the value you will write this is for first name, like you write
Yes,
first name.
in value, I will provide a data binding. I will do the data binding. So that data binding will be of, so that's what we have this concept in JSON model. In model, I will explain
Okay.
all
So
this.
you are saying rather than getting by ID and setting values, you are saying we should go with the binding.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So binding is a good practice. Otherwise, see, if I want to get access the value, right, for sure, I need to write this code, right?
Okay.
Again, let's say I want to set the value again, I need to access the control, or it's better that we can store it on the top. inside one variable, and after that, with the help of this variable name only, you can manipulate that control however you want. Okay, so at least you got it right, guys. How to access
Yes,
the
yes.
IDs or the controls from input field, sorry, from view to the controller, and how to handle or how to manage the events which are triggered from the view. Okay, so only two things are important in the controller. So first of all, how we load the libraries or the modules. After that, how we pass this information to the functions, and then at the end, as soon as the event is triggered, so how we are capturing that event inside the controllers. Okay, so once the event is captured, so after that, how to access the controls from the view to the controller with the help of methods. Okay, so these are all important things that every developer should know in UI5. Any questions in this?
Yeah, no, we have to do practice.
No questions, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, fine. Okay, so yeah. Okay, so now after that, if you see, we have the value with the help of first name. So now inside the first name, we have the reference of this input field control. So it's just like an instance of that input field control. Okay, so now this is how we are able to access the value. So if I want to get the value or if I want to set the value, I can do that. But let's say I want to add a condition, so I can add it here only. Okay, I'm adding a condition if first name dot get value. Okay, if first name dot get value, or let's say I'm adding a length property equal to 0. Let's say if user has not entered anything, and after that is directly clicking on the sign up button. So I'll check if first name dot get value dot length means the value is 0. So for sure the length of that string would be 0. Okay, if it is 0, so I want to display a pop-up that please enter a value inside the first name. Okay, so if you want to display the pop-up, so there is one control message box. Okay, so there are various message box types like confirm, alert, error. So I want to display the error like this. Okay, so if I want to use the message box, right? So first of all, I need to load this library on the top. So loading this library is optional, but for sure message box, it for sure it would be used mostly. So you can only load the models which are used mostly in this controller. Like I'm declaring this message box. So instead of dot, I will replace that with the slash. Okay, and after that, I will provide that information after this controller message box. Okay, and then I will write here for the message box if I want to display the error, right? So for that, we have the error method. Okay, so we have the error method. Can you see this error? Okay, this is how I have to display the message. So error method is there, error, and inside that I will provide the information of the error message. Like, please okay, fine. So this is our error message. So now what will happen if I'm not going to enter anything? So let it reload. Okay, so if I'm going to directly click on sign up, it will throw the error. Can you see now? It's directly, it will throw the error. But let's say I'm going, if I'm entering anything, and if I click on the sign up, now this time it should not give any pop-up. See, it's not giving now. Why? Because the condition will not satisfy, right? At the end, because it has the value, and now the length of that value is not 0. It's greater than 0. So this condition is not satisfying. Okay, so this is one thing. Now let's say apart from displaying the pop-up, right? I want to make this input fields border in red color so that users will easily understand. So that this is what the input field and we have to fill the information in this input field. So for that, what I will do, so we already have the O first name input field. So we have one method dot set value state. So inside the set value state, if I set the error, so it will make that input fields border color in red color. Otherwise, if the value is available, so again, I will make that set value state to none. Because unnecessarily, if user is entering and after that he is clicking on save, still you will see that get value, sorry, the border color of the first name in red color. So I'm just making it, I'm just removing that border color to none. Okay, fine now. So, okay, let me click on the sign up. Okay. Can you see now? It is highlighted in red color now. Okay. But now if I'm typing anything and after that, if I'm clicking on sign up, so that value will be removed, that value state. Okay. Guys, you're getting it right. Guys, any questions? So this
No.
set value state, it is a method of input field. So if you want to see that, you need to go to the API reference and search for input field. Okay, this is our input field. And you have to scroll down, expand the this, and you need to search for set value state. Okay, if you see we have set value state text. You don't have set value state. Why? Okay, if you're not getting any methods right, but still I have used, so you have to check in the extents because there is a inheritance concept which is followed in SAPUI5. So this input field, it will access few information or few features from the input base. So if I go to the input base, and if I go to the methods, so here you will find set value state. Can you see now? Okay. So inside the set value state, we have this S value state. And what is this S value state? You can directly click on this link. Okay. And once you click on this link, this is what we have, like error, information, none, success, and warning. Okay. You can directly pass that error the way I have passed, like this in a double quotes, or otherwise you can pass it in this way. Okay, both will work. Okay, both will work. Okay, so the best would be, yeah, if you're using like this, so this would be best. No problem at all in that. Fine, guys. Guys, any questions?
What was the alternative method of it? You could use the extends class as well instead of.
Yes, alternative method is means for example, if I'm not able to find any properties
Okay.
which are not means it's not fulfilling my requirement, right? So I don't have that property. So you can just check the extends one. Okay, you
Okay.
just scroll on the top and you see whether it's extending, whether it's providing more information from its parent. So that you can check it with the help of extend. So you just have to scroll up on this and you can check for the extents, and whatever the option they have provided, right? Just click on it. It will take you there, and still whatever the properties, aggregation, association, events, or method, all this information you can still use for the input because at the end it is accessing from its parent. Okay. Okay, is it clear, guys?
Yes.
Okay, so I think we can stop for today because it's more now. I'm unable to see. Looks like it's getting burdened now, right? Okay, let's take this 1 week entirely, practice on it. Okay, just explore all the controls and then also see how we can access the value from the different controls. Okay, how to set the value. Just practice this. Okay, for this week. And apart from that, also practice for the design level. how I can design this page, how I can achieve this layout. So each and everything you can just practice it. Utilize this week's time properly. Okay, so let's connect on next on coming Saturday at 10 o'clock.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll provide the session recording in few minutes. Okay, thank you guys. So no questions, right?
No problem, Avik. Yeah. Um,
Okay then.
bye for now. Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank you
yeah,
so much.
thank you.
Bye-bye.